Lagos, Nigeria's financial and cultural epic center, is the seventh biggest economy in Africa. With more than 20 million inhabitants, the highest in the country, crammed into what is the smallest space in the country, Lagos is alive with color and culture, and awake to the hustle and a can-do attitude that spells its uniqueness. With an island and lots of beaches, Lagos is Nigeria's shore to the world, yet also a symptom of all its ills. It is a place of contradictions, where opulence is kin with squalor, where the audacity that is a co-Atlantic casts a mocking shadow on the realities of everyday Lagosians who strive to make ends meet amidst the high living standard of the city. It is a city that generates over 25% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, yet has over 65% of its inhabitants living in slums. Since the start of democracy rule in 1999, the Lagos state government has been somewhat preoccupied with the notion or the dream of Lagos as a mega city or Nigeria's house on the hill. And in 2003, in a bid to achieve that, the Tinubu-led administration passed a law that bans and prohibits hawking.
Wọ́n sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé ká má tẹ̀yìn ta nǹkan o, wọ́n dẹ̀ tutù lẹ́ẹ̀kì nípa àwọn tó bá mú 90,000. Àwa dẹ̀ ní àwa lọ́jà gan àní 90,000 ní èrè ní lóṣù kan àbóṣù méjì gan.
Ó tà jẹ́rẹ̀ nígbà tá à níṣẹ́ àdẹ̀ lówó tá máa fi gba ṣọ́ọ̀bù aṣágbọ̀dọ̀ kiri ọjà wa náà máa rán ọmọ wa ní skul òun ní sí owó skul lọ sókè lóríṣiríṣi tá a bá ṣiṣẹ́ bó láti fẹ́ rówó sọ àwa náà dẹ̀ fẹ́ káwọn ọmọ wa náà débi tán dé.
A tún máa kiri náà nísìn ẹ tún ní a máa kiri kí la fẹ́ ṣe tá a fẹ́ ti tọ́ ọmọ táwọn tiwa náà fẹ́ ṣe mí lárí tí a ṣe ní sẹ́rú ayé.
You yourself watch am now, see where Melo dey, see where e dey. But to see comment to go still come here come dey disturb me. Is it good like that?
The Street Trading and Illegal Prohibition Law was passed in 2003. Section 1 of the law prohibits street hawking, while Section 6 and 7 gave powers to special courts to seize and auction products from street hawkers. Offenders, that is, buyers or sellers, are to pay a 90,000 naira fine or face up to 6 months in jail.
I hawk for a reason. I don't have something else doing as a work. Understand? There's no employment in my country. Understand? So I decided helping myself when we are out. Understand?
If I go carry gun now, my own go worse now because the fees are why did you go carry gun? You know fee also. Now.
Because I can't go. I can't steal. Because I don't have any other work, so I can do.
I know, but there is nothing I can do. I can't steal now. I know they say anybody that they caught, the person will pay fine of 90,000 naira. But the problem is that I can't steal. Instead of stealing, it's better that I'm doing what I'm doing.
The law passed in 2003 is merely being enforced by the present Ambode-led administration. The Lagos state government and supporters of the bill point to the fact any modern city, especially one with Lagos ambition, needs to set rules and ensure its metropolis is orderly and devoid of element of chaos and public nuisance. But for all its ambition and fancy for the high end, Lagos at its heart is a city of hustle, survival and hope. An estimate of over 250 ethnic groups have migrated into Lagos. In fact, you won't be wrong for calling it the hustle capital.
I come from a Ebonyi State, come to Lagos for hustle.
No, I don't have any family in Lagos. I'm the first son of my father.
And it is this notion above all that inspires the daily influx of thousands of unskilled people into the city. With no jobs awaiting them, many, like Samuel from Ebonyi State, have little to do except to resort to hawking or selling by the roadside.
You don't move at all, but you're just managing it because I don't have other things to do, understand? So I don't have other things.
Street hawking, apart from being an affront on orderliness, is a somewhat life-threatening way to earn a living and a clear infringement on the right to education of many minors who engage in it. Samuel John is an intelligent teenager who, with his brother, hawks on the streets to fend for himself instead of being in school.
I dropped out before because there is no money. I feel bad because I was not working before. So due to the situation, I started working. I'm going to stop if I see money to start from where I stopped in school. I'll stop hawking.
His story is not unlike many of his age category, hawking and selling on the streets of Lagos, for whom going to school is not a viable option, and hawking provides the best means of survival.
My father is an Okada rider, but he don't seem to bring any help in the family, so we decided to work.
What about your mom?
My mom is not doing anything.
Unlike Samuel John's parents who have left him to his devices, Mrs. Waro does it to educate her children, two of whom are in Futa, Akure. She used to have a shop that was demolished by the government.
Ẹ mọ̀ pé situation Nigeria a ti gba ṣọ́ọ̀bù ribẹ̀ tí gbà tó dẹ̀ ti demolish ṣọ́ọ̀bù tá a gbà á ní owó láti fi gbà mímọ́ torí ẹ̀ la jẹ́ ká ó jẹ́ pé ìtara rẹ̀ ń wà sí.
It is a sentiment echoed by many. They are doing it not only because they have no other choice, but because they needed to in order to educate their children.
Tí mo pa lójúmọ́ kò tó nà torí mo mọ bí tí mo ti àwọn ọmọ mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ wọ́n nílọ síwájú mi ò dẹ̀ fẹ́ wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ àbọ̀ bí mo ṣe ń ṣe báyìí.
Not all are young and uneducated though. Ikeme Funa, who sells second-hand clothes, better known as Okrika, is a former civil servant who lost his job, is learned and fairly articulate.
Well, I was a civil servant. I worked in an insurance company. Yes, before we were laid off. Instead of staying idle, I embarked on this.
Ikeme Funa seems to be the exception though. Most are uneducated and seem to possess little or no skill or training to be able to do anything else. Example is Eruka from Ebonyi State. But even at that, they take certain pride in their hustle, as one of the very few options is to submit to a life of criminality.
When you have arranged yourself, then so enemy called car will now come and carry you. Then when the matter finish paying everything, you now start life afresh again.
Chika Okore, a father of two boys, sells windshield wipers and fears the enforcement is as a result of generalization of hawkers and street sellers as degenerate by the government, especially after the incident where BRT buses were burned.
We hustle to survive. We are not criminals. We come here around something after 8 in the morning time. Before 5, 6, we don't close go house.
If they are taken off the street where they get their income from, what else would they do? That is the major argument of those against the development and the one the government needs to answer. It is also the question being asked by some in the middle of it all. According to many, one of the solutions is to provide stalls or shops for many who are affected by the ban. It isn't an idea without merit. Like Adijat Adekunle, who sells chewing sticks and makes a profit of just 2,000 naira every week, from which she feeds her family, most of the hawkers would rather be in a store than at the roadside.
Nǹkan láyé ìsìn gbogbo nǹkan ló yẹ kó di taba orí àwọn ìsọ̀ tó ń kọ́ yẹn tó yẹ pé kó yẹ kó máa gbé fáwọn èèyàn lówó díẹ̀ táwọn èèyàn lè máa fi assist ara wọn wọn kàn máa tún wá bu owó lè tẹ́ pé téèyàn bá tiẹ̀ tún wá gbà sọ náà tàn gan kò ní rí owó tó máa fi ta ọjà kò ní sí anything kò ní sí nǹkan kan wọ́n bá lè bá a ṣe kán bá a kọ́ ìsọ̀ tó yẹ pé olówó kéréje tó yẹ pé àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù náà máa lè jẹ àǹfààní wọn kò ń ṣe olówó nìkan ló máa jẹ àǹfààní tó pọ̀ jù.
Unfortunately, as noted, most of the shops don't come cheap. Some, like Mrs. Akinola, who sells moi moi at the roadside, begs the government to be flexible enough to accept installment for the stalls.
Kán pèsè kán pèsè ibi tí a lè máa sanwó díẹ̀ tá a lè máa dúró sí a lè wà ń bẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n pèsè ibẹ̀ kò fẹ́ lé wa.
She believes, like her, most of them were forced to be on the street as a result of lack of other opportunities and jobs, even for the educated amongst them.
Àwọn ọlọ́jà kiri náà fẹ́ lé wọn ẹlòmíì inú àwọn ọlọ́jà tó ń kiri. Tẹ́ ti rí wọn pé bí gan ló ń pẹ́ ẹlòmíì nínú wọn tó yẹ pé pẹ̀lú ọmọ lẹ́yìn ẹlòmíì ọmọ oṣù kan gan ń gbé pọ̀n wọ́n kiri káàkiri. Gbà tí ó sọ jẹ́ ẹlòmíì dẹ̀ sí kọ́ṣẹ́ kò síṣẹ́ ẹlòmíì lọ school.
Despite the ban and the high fee for dissent, the streets of Lagos brim still with hawkers, young and old, which begs a question: is it enforceable? For now, it doesn't look as if it is, but it being so much a social issue and the exorbitance of the fine have affected businesses for many. According to Godwin Samuel, that sells palm slippers at Maryland, business has nosedived as buyers, too scared of the fine, are no longer patronizing him. The underlying rhetoric of those affected the most is that this is more of a societal issue that is deeply rooted and wouldn't be solved by mere passing or enforcement of laws, but rather by finding solutions to the underlying problems bedeviling the society, and ultimately many who see hawking and roadside selling not as an option but as the only means of survival.